application. And when you open a new empty file from Android, from Kotlin, one of the first things that you have to do is try to understand what it does and what it is, just to make sure that you understand what exactly you are doing. For the first time, this is the main activity file. This is where you're gonna add all the functions, all the variables, just to communicate with the design of your application. From the design perspective, we are just gonna use activity main, and we can use different ways to do this. We can add it through the UI, and we can just add all the different components that we have in here. As you can see, we have text view, button, image view, etc. However, we have three different ways to see this format of the design. Since you can only view the design, you can decide to split it. And if you split the view, it's just gonna give you the code, which is exactly the format that is just gonna be using inside of the on here. Or we can just do the code, which is gonna be using the XML form. And for the XML form, I would rather use XML just to make sure that I can give an explanation, and later on we can just do that. First of all, what I want you to do is click on this and start deleting the layout that it just gives us by itself, just by opening this file. And we just need a linear layout. By doing this, you're gonna see that we change this line of code and that we change line 18. And just to make sure that we understand it, we just wanted to make sure that, let me see, if I click at the design, you can see that the text is on the left top corner, but I don't want the text in here. I want the text in the middle. And to make sure that I can send it to the middle, we just have to say to the layout that we want to use gravity. And no, it's not layout gravity. It's just gonna be gravity. We select this option, and we are just gonna say center, that we want everything on the center. We take a look at the design, just gonna send it to the center from the original file. Then we go back to the code, to the XML file, and I'm just gonna say that I want an orientation, which is gonna be vertical, and I want the padding to make sure that we can put the first line of text almost at the top of the page. And by adding the padding, I'm just gonna do 60 dp. And I'm just gonna say that I want the color, text color. No, I mean, this one is not gonna be text, it's gonna be the background. And it's just gonna be white. And by doing that, this is how it's gonna look. Okay, now we have another part of the layout, which is a text view. And the text view is just, to be more specific, is this line. We click in here, we just can see all the attributes that we can just add, the layout options and common attributes, and what it is and how we call it. And to make sure, we can just, instead of just calling it hello world, we can just we can just call it calculate year H. And if we change it, you see that it's gonna change the text in here. And if we go back to the code, you're gonna be able to see that the text was added to this line of code, because it's called text, which is mean that it's kind of like the variable, but it's how you made the call to make sure what is gonna change on the design. For this, I don't think I need all of this constraint top bottom. What I need in here is, I have the wrap content with the width and the height. Let's do margin, the layout margin top, and I just want everything 15 dp. I want to add some padding. The padding I wanted to make not a big. And also the color, the text color is just gonna be black because the background is white. Otherwise, we are gonna have some issues to see it. And we can make it bold, which is gonna be text style, bold. And the text size, I will see that I wanted 15 SB. Let's see how it looks on the design. Okay, nice. Okay, if we make it a 25, this is how big it looks. And then since we have it in here, I don't want the constraint top to top off. And let's see what it changed on the design. Okay, I think it's everything that I need from here. Then what I want to do is I just want to show you how to add an image to make sure that you exactly know how to add an image. And for this, you have to click on the left side. You're gonna see Resource Manager. As soon as you see Resource Manager, you can click on the plus. You're gonna do the import. As soon as you do the import, it's just gonna tell you that you have to add a picture. Then we are just gonna select any random picture. We click on Open. We see that the name is circle underscores face cam. And by doing that, we just click next. We do the import. We add it. And as soon as it's added, it's just gonna be added to the application. But how we can bring it over to the application? Then I just wanna do an image view. We are just gonna call it image view. We are just gonna do I'm just gonna do 228 dp. Oh, it's in here with the height. And let me see in here. For the height, we are just gonna give it 192 dp. We are just gonna give some padding. And the padding is gonna be 10 dp. And we are just gonna do margin. Yeah, I'm just gonna do margin for the top. It's just gonna be 5 dp to make sure that it's not gonna be a lot of space. And here is where we are just gonna bring the file. To make sure, we have to make sure that we bring the source, and the source is just gonna be as an image. No, I'm lying, it's not an image, it's just unravel. And we just call circle face cam. And let's take a look at the design. Nice. As you can see, if we start calling more elements into the application, everything is just gonna start going to the top. Why? Because we are just trying to use the layout, which is linear layout, and everything is gonna be vertical in a vertical side, and the padding is just gonna make sure that everything is gonna be 60 dp to make sure that it's not too big, not too small, but also we are using gravity to make sure that everything is in the center. As soon as we are in here, it's telling us that we have a little error, and the reason why it is because we have to close this call, which is the image view. We have to close it to make sure that it can recognize exactly where it ends. And for the next, I'm just gonna add some another text view. By adding the text view, I'm just gonna do wrap content, and I'm just gonna give it a text. I'm just gonna be since the last title is calculate your age, we just call it the application age in minutes, meaning that we have to make sure that we explain what it is to make sure that the end user is gonna be able to understand it. Let's do margin from the top. which is gonna be 15 dp. This one is gonna be a little bit far away from the image view. And I would like to say that the text color, I want it to be black because the background is white. And let's make it bold one more time. And then to make it bold is just text, the style, bold. Then for the size, the title before it was 25. This one has to be a little bit smaller. Then we are just gonna be doing 20 SP. We have to close it. We close it and see how it looks. It doesn't look bad. Okay, let's go back to the XML. And then here we have to do a button. Just gonna call a button. Just gonna do wrap content. But one of the main pieces in here is that we have to add an ID to make sure that we can recognize the button and that we can call it in the main activity file. Button date picker. And as soon as we wrap the content, we need one more time the padding. And I'm just gonna do 10 dp. And then I'm just gonna do margin one more time, margin top. And I think this one can be 15 dp. We are just gonna leave it the same as before. And we have the margin top. Since this one is gonna be, as soon as we select the, it's just gonna be the button. And what is gonna happen is as soon as we click the date picker, it's just gonna open a little window, a little pop-up window, meaning that it's gonna have a background, meaning that for this one, it's gonna call background tint. And we are just gonna make it white to make sure that everything is visible and that it's gonna be right. If for some reason it doesn't look good, we can just change it. And you can just add some text. And the text is just gonna be select date to make sure that the user understand what they have to do. Then the text color, we are just gonna make it black because everything is white. And the text size, we are just gonna make it 15. I think it's 15 dp is gonna be a really good size. And then we close it. Let's see how it looks the bottom. Wow, it's getting in there. Okay, now we have to do the text view. I'm just gonna do, I'm thinking that we can do another text view to make sure that it's gonna show us as soon as we add the date from the date picker, it can just give us a message, and it can just give us any message for the date that we select already. And that's gonna be the intention of this text view. Just gonna do wrap content, and I'm just gonna give it an ID to make sure that we can just we can recognize it in the future. We added an ID, and we are just gonna call it TV selected date. It's gonna be our ID. And then we're just gonna do margin. No, it has to be margin top. Margin top. And for the margin top, we are gonna do the same thing as before, 15 dp. We are just gonna do the text color. I just want the text color to be something not too strong. I'm just gonna do color teal 700 to make sure that it's gonna show us a kind of like gray color. And we're just gonna bold it, the style of the text, and the size is gonna be 15 SP. Let's see, text style, bold, and we just have to close it. For the next one has to show us the selected date. The first one, the reason why I did the ID is just to make sure that it's gonna show us, it's just gonna show us a little bit of the date. But you know what? Since this one is gonna be inside, this one can be white. It doesn't necessarily have to be a gray color, because this one is just gonna be a message for the internal button itself. But we just have to call another text view, and this one is gonna be the one that has to be for the selected day. And then we are just gonna add some text, and we are just gonna be selected date. Let's see how it looks after that. We are just gonna make a margin the same as before, margin top 15 dp. And since this one is gonna be just a message from the date picker, I just want it to be the text color to be color till 700. And let's see how it looks. We are just gonna choose the text style one more time, which is gonna be bold. And the size, we are just gonna choose 15 SP. And I think this is all for this. And let's do the other view for the, now that it's gonna be transformed in minutes, we have to have two different text views, one for the selected day minutes, and the other one, the last text view is just gonna to show the age in minutes, and to make sure that it can tell us exactly what is the conversion of the age to minutes. And let's see for the last two. Just gonna do text view. Just gonna do wrap content. This one is the one that is gonna carry the ID. I'm just gonna call it TB selected date in minutes. That's my ID. Then we're just gonna do the margin top 15 dp. Just text color. This one is gonna be black, and right now, as far as I remember, everything is white, meaning that I have to make it black. Yeah, if I don't make it black, it's not gonna show anything, because everything is it has a background, has a white background, meaning that we have to put all the text in black. And as soon as I choose the color, I'm just gonna choose the text style one more time, which is gonna be bold. And the text size. For the text size, I'm just gonna leave it as a 15 SP. The same as the other ones. And I'm just gonna close it. And the last one is just to send the alert, right? Since it's just gonna be for the alert, I'm just gonna make sure that has some text. I'm just gonna do wrap content. I'm just gonna add text. And the text is gonna be now your age is in minutes. And we are just gonna do margin top 15 dp. And since this one is an alert, what I wanted to do is send the till 700. And I just want to make the text style bold. And the text size is just going to be 15 SP. Okay, by doing this, we can just make sure that everything is ready and that we can just take a look at the design and see if it does what we're looking for. As you can see, we have the first text, which is calculate your image, which is a text view. The next one is going to be the image view. The next one is a text view one more time, and this is the button. The other ones are going to be in here, and this is just what is going to show us. And since everything is done for the design perspective, we have to go to the main activity and we have to start building the idea or the concept that we are just going to be using for this. And what I want to do in here, I just want to start with a function for the date picker. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do function click date picker. We're just going to make it as a view. And no, I'm just going to be calling a view in here. And after I call the view, just going to open it, and I'm just going to create some variables that are going to help me to define the calendar, the year, the month, and the date. And for this, I'm just going to call the first variable. I'm just going to call it my calendar, right? I'm just going to do equals calendar. I'm just going to do calendar get instance. Okay, and for the rest of the information, I'm just going to do val, another variable that is going to be called year. It's going to be equals to my calendar, because this is the one that is going to contain the function. And I'm just going to do that get. Just going to call one more time calendar. It's going to do that, and I'm just going to select the year. And then I'm just going to do another variable, and that is going to be for the month. We are just going to do the same thing. We are just going to do my calendar dot get calendar, and we are just going to call it month. Let's see if we just can call it. Okay, it's in here, month. And then what is the next thing that I want to do? Oh, date. We have to do the day. I'm just going to choose to do day, my calendar that get, call it calendar one more time. We're just going to do date of the month. Then I just want to choose the not to choose, but do another variable, and this one I'm just going to call it dpd, which is going to be equals to the date picker dialog. I'm just going to call this, just going to do the comma, just going to call date picker dialog one more time. And I'm just going to do on date set listener. I'm just going to do, it's giving us an error, but let's keep continuing with this. And I'm just going to call the view, which is coming from the function. Just gonna do selected year, selected month, selected date of month, I'm gonna create a toast. Make sure that that it's gonna recognize it. It's gonna be make text. It's gonna be this. I'm just gonna call it the choose year is selected year. The month is string interpolation one more time, and we're just gonna select selected month. Just gonna do comma, and the day is string interpolation one more time. Selected date of month. Let me see, let me just review. Select the month. What else do we have to print it out in here? Oh, you know what we have to do? We have to make a call for the toast one more time. As soon as we make, I just want to know the length, but the short length. And after that, I'm just gonna do that show. That has to be in. Okay. As soon as we call it, it seems that we are calling the right thing. And just gonna click enter in here. And for this, I have to specify what is gonna be called by the selected date, right? Meaning that I have to do a variable, and I have to do selected date. Just gonna do equals. I'm just gonna do a string interpolation. I'm just gonna call it selected date of month, and we don't have to call the selected date, but we have to do the calculation just to make sure that it knows exactly what we have to do, and to make sure that how it's gonna convert the age to dates. And then we have to do the selected date of month divided by the selected month plus 1 divided by the selected year. Then we do the string interpolation one more time, and we are just gonna do selected date of month plus 1. We do a string interpolation one more time, and we select the year. It's gonna be our calculation. Now that we have it, I'm just gonna add the messages for the text areas, and just to make sure that it can give us the right information that we need. But for this, I have to call I'm just gonna call it text area, but it's just gonna be able to find the selected date and selected date in minutes, the two different IDs that we use in here. At the time that we add it, I just need to find this ID, and I need to find this other ID. And in order to make it right now, I'm just gonna call it through. Just gonna call the variable text area 1. I'm just gonna do find. It's gonna be find view ID. Yes, I'm doing something wrong, but I'm 100% sure that let's see. Let's see what he's telling us, what he's complaining about. We have the toes. Oh, we don't have the text view, which is weird. Just gonna do the import Android widget button. Then we have to do the import Android that widget that text view. We have the toes, we have the app compatibility. We have to do the import Java that text that simple date format. And we have to do the import Java that util start. Make sure that it's gonna bring over all the different files that we have. Okay, let's see what we can do in here because it's giving us a lot of issues right now. Well, let me check the let me check if it's any data that we are missing in here. As far as I know, is nothing missing. However, let me here. No, we don't even here, but let's just keep going with this. Okay. Find view by ID. I'm just gonna call it. Just gonna call it text view. Let's see if it's anything new that I have to do here to make sure that it's gonna give me the find view by ID. Text view. I'm just gonna call it. I'm just gonna bring it over. Just gonna do R. ID. Just gonna do TV. Select the day. I'm just gonna basically do the same thing, meaning that I'm just gonna copy over. I'm gonna call it that is the number 2. And instead of being the TV selected date, this one is gonna be TV selected date in minutes. And this one is going to be text area 1. The text equals to selected day. Now, I just want to add something that is just going to give me the format of the date to make sure that it's not going to give me any data that is going to be messed around, or that we are not going to be messing around, right? But and you know why it's complaining. Let's see if it's the indentation that is giving us a problem. Yes, no. I'm 100% sure that we are missing something else. We're missing one. You sure it's this one? Yeah, something is not liking it, but let's keep going. Just what I'm gonna do right now. So I'm just gonna select everything. I'm just gonna copy and paste it one more time and see if it's anything that I'm doing wrong. Let's see if it's gonna start complaining again. Yep, it's still complaining. Why? Why is it still complaining? Oh, you know what? I think I know what is the issue in here. Because we have to make sure that we call the rest of the information inside of the main function on the main activity. Let's see. Let's do ball button. I'm just gonna call it button date. And I'm just gonna find the other ID, which is gonna be fine. View by ID. And this one is giving me the information without complaining. I'm just gonna call from the R ID and the button date picker. And from here, you're just gonna say that we need button date set on click listener. Click listener. It's just gonna be under the view, which is already there, and I'm just gonna do click data picker. Just gonna call it for the view. And it should be only one instead of twice. And I think this one is because of this. It's gonna be under the override. Okay, and let's see, let me just check Let me just check if everything is right in here. One thing that I'm just gonna do is just copy this text. Just gonna come in here. I'm just gonna do I'm just gonna start closing just to see if it's a indentation problem. And it seems that it's still complaining, but let's figure it out. Well, let's continue with this and see if it's anything else that we are not calling and that we are missing, to see if it's any other problems that we have to override. Then I'm just gonna do, for the format of the date, I'm just gonna call it SFT. Just gonna do simple date format. Just gonna do the basic, which is gonna be date, month, and year, which is gonna be like that. Just gonna do the comma. I'm just gonna do locale, and I'm just gonna ask for English to make sure that it's gonna give us the right one. Just gonna do the same thing for. I think in here the value that we have to do in here is, I'm just gonna call it the date. But to make sure that it's just gonna be working, we're just gonna make sure that we are gonna call the SFT, and we just have to parse. As soon as we parse, it's gonna be under the selected date. Then we do the same thing, but for the selected date in minutes. Date, selected date in minutes. That's how I'm just gonna call it. And I'm just gonna call the date see if it's equals to the time, and we can just do divided by 6,000, which is normally the formula to make sure that it's gonna give us the right, in between the right date and the time, to make sure that we don't have any wrong calculations. But we're just gonna do the same thing for the current date. We're just gonna do SDF, right? And I think I call it wrong here. SDF. SDF. Okay, now we call it the same. We're just gonna parse one more time. Just gonna keep it a format. SDF format. We're just gonna keep it we're just gonna call it through the system, and that is gonna give us the current time millis, which is a function inside of Kotlin. And after we have it in here, we are just gonna specify the current date to minutes. We're just gonna do equals, and we are just gonna do it the same thing as before, current date. See, check if the time is gonna calculate in between the time, and it's gonna be divided by 6,000. And now the difference in between minutes. We is gonna be called the difference in minutes. It's gonna do current date to minutes minus selected data minutes. Now we just have to call the text area 2 that we call it at the beginning on a variable. We do have to do that is called the text, and we have to say that this one is gonna be, we have to convert the minutes to a string to make sure that it's gonna be able to show the conversion to a string. And let's see. Now, after in here, the only thing that I have to do is I just have to call the year, the month, and the day. And as soon as we call the day, I will say that before we ended up here, we have to do the DPD, what we called before, for the day picker dialog, which is gonna be the one that is gonna give us the selected year, selected month, and the selected date of the month. And we have to do date picker. We have to maximize it, and we have to do max date. It's gonna be equals to our date, that time, and we just can give it a value of, I think if I'm not mistaken, it has to be 840,000. Now, the last thing before I miss something else, I think the last thing that we have to do here is just dpd that show to make sure that everything is going to be corrected. I do that in here. What is telling us in here? No, it's not acceptable. Okay. Okay, what it's telling us is that we have to add the instance. We don't necessarily need this because this is different from what we need, but I guess it's gonna give us information that we need. But let's see, now is the time to run the Android application. But we have to, the first thing that I wanna do is I just wanna open the device, and to be able to open the device, you just have to go to the AVD manager. And you're just gonna go here. You're just gonna reset it to make sure that it's just gonna wipe data. We click it yes, and this is just gonna clear. It's gonna do a hard reset on the device. I'm just gonna run it one more time. It's just gonna synchronize. Let's see. It's telling us that we have 2 error messages. Yeah. You needed this. That's right. A picker. Okay. We're just gonna call it. Just gonna make sure that in our application is gonna be called the age in minutes. Let's just give it some time to load the phone to make sure that we can use the emulator, and it seems that it's starting. Now, We run the emulator. Let's see what it does. Let's see. Open the log, open the build. It's gonna give us the information. It's giving us a no source, it's process. It's just making the process for everything. And let's just see until you finish building. And it's telling us is deprecated, it will be shut down in the future. See for more information. Okay. Let me just to resolve this issue. Is that this is weird how we solve this issue, but one of the main things is that we just have to delete all that information that we didn't, all of this, and just Command X, which is gonna cut. It's just gonna paste it, and just gonna give us this. I just cut and pasted one more time, just to see if it's anything that is just gonna resolve by itself. And it seems that it did it. Expecting level. Oh. Okay. We have an extra one. That's what it had. That's what it says. Now we just run it one more time. And let's cross our fingers that everything is gonna be working as expected. It says that it builds successful. It's gonna run the application. Let's just wait. Now let's see if it's working. Nice. Now we can choose our date. Let's say, let me see if I can click in here. Click in here. Okay. Oh, I have to click on the year to make sure that it's gonna give us a different year. I have to scroll down. I'm from 1993. I'm a little bit old, not too old, but if we click in here, I click on 93. Let's select 17, click OK. Nice. Now we have the message. We have all the information. It's giving us the text view for the selected date. It's showing us the conversion that we are just doing it from the selected date in minutes. And it seems that if you were born in August 17 from 1993, it's gonna be all of these minutes in total. But now this is the way that I can show you that you already built the first application. Now that you have it, now you understand it, we can go through step by step what we did before to make sure that you understand it properly and that you don't have any other issues to understand all of this. But hey, congratulations, you already built your first application.